Hi, welcome to English Unlock the Oral Mastery. Think of this as your daily dose of inspiration, where learning English feels like a breeze and improving your life feels like home.
It is so great to be here for this. We have a really exciting topic today.
We really do. Today, we are going on a very specific mission. We are exploring the ultimate toolkit for studying English when you are completely alone.
Right, which is something so many people struggle with.
Exactly. Let me ask you, the listener, a question. Have you ever felt totally stuck, just staring at a blank wall in your room because you don't have a practice partner?
Oh, that is such a familiar feeling.
You have no native speaker to talk to, there's no teacher sitting right next to you, and you probably think, how can I possibly improve my English all by myself?
Yeah, that feeling of being stuck is incredibly common. It's so easy to believe that without a formal classroom or without a conversation partner who can correct your every mistake, real progress is impossible.
It feels like a dead end.
But if we look at some of the most successful language learners in the world, people who speak 3, 4, or even 5 languages fluently, they actually do the vast majority of their learning completely alone.
Wow, really? Mostly alone.
Mostly alone. They don't rely on magic, they rely on a very specific system. And in this deep dive, we are going to build that exact system for you.
I think that's a huge relief to hear. You don't need to wait for the perfect teacher to appear out of nowhere.
Not at all. You have everything you need.
So today we're going to break down this solo study system into 3 main areas. First, we will figure out how to build a daily plan that actually survives your busy life.
Which is crucial.
Second, we'll talk about managing your input, meaning how to consume English without getting completely overwhelmed by the thousands of videos and audios out there.
There is so much noise out there.
Yeah, way too much. And finally, we will tackle the scariest part, generating output. We'll show you how to practice speaking and have conversations entirely on your own.
It's a complete cycle, really. Planning, absorbing, and speaking. And once you understand the psychology behind how these 3 pieces work together, you'll realize that you hold all the power in your learning journey.
Let's jump right into the first step, the planning phase. Because I know from personal experience how easily this goes wrong.
Oh, I'm sure you do. We all have those stories.
Yeah, a few years ago, I tried to learn Spanish on my own. I would get this massive burst of motivation on a Sunday.
The classic Sunday motivation.
Yeah, exactly. I'd sit at my desk, open 3 different textbooks, watch a movie in Spanish, and study intensely for 3 straight hours.
Yeah.
I felt so productive.
But then Monday arrived.
Right. Monday arrived, work got busy, and I was so exhausted from that Sunday session that I did absolutely nothing for the next 6 days. I was just trapped in this cycle of studying randomly.
Yeah, you were experiencing what we call the random study system, and it is the single biggest trap for language learners.
It felt terrible.
Because you rely entirely on a sudden feeling of motivation. You decide, today is the day, and you push yourself to the absolute limit.
Yeah, you're trying to do everything at once.
Exactly. But motivation is just an emotion, and emotions fade quickly. When we study like this, bouncing between extreme effort and zero effort, our brain cannot hold on to the information. It is simply not sustainable.
Not sustainable, meaning you just can't keep doing it for a long time.
Right. If something is sustainable, it means you can maintain it for a long period of time without burning out.
So my 3-hour Sunday marathon, followed by 6 days of nothing, was, well, it was the exact opposite of sustainable. It actually made me want to quit altogether.
Precisely. To understand why this fails, I want you to think about learning English like taking care of a houseplant.
A houseplant, okay.
Yeah. If you have a beautiful little green plant sitting on your windowsill and you completely ignore it for a month, the soil gets dry. The leaves turn brown.
It starts dying.
Right. And if you suddenly feel guilty and dump an entire bucket of water on it all at once, what happens?
I guess it overflows.
Yes, the plant doesn't suddenly grow faster. The roots actually drown. It cannot absorb that much water at one time.
That makes perfect sense. The plant needs a small, steady drink of water every single day.
Exactly. Your brain is just like that plant when it comes to acquiring a new language. It cannot process an ocean of English vocabulary once a week. It needs a small, consistent daily drink.
So we have to stop relying on those random bursts of energy.
Yes. That requires us to shift away from being random and start being intentional.
Being intentional. That means you are doing things on purpose with a very clear reason, rather than just waiting for a feeling of motivation to strike you.
Right. You have a design.
But how do we actually do that? Because even when I try to be intentional and say, I will study every day, life always gets in the way. I get tired or I have to work late.
That is where we introduce the concept of the daily micro
A
goal.
micro goal.
Yes, micro means extremely small, microscopic. A lot of learners set goals that are too vague and too large. They wake up and say, my goal today is to practice English, or I will watch a long documentary.
Which sounds good in theory.
It sounds great, but the problem is when you are tired after a long day of work, a big goal feels like a heavy mountain. You look at it and say, I don't have the energy for that today.
Right. The goal itself becomes a source of stress.
But a daily micro goal removes that stress completely. Instead of saying, I will study for an hour, your micro goal might be, today, I will learn exactly 3 new phrases.
Just 3 phrases.
That's it. Just 3 phrases.
I mean, 3 phrases sounds almost too easy. I could do that in 5 minutes while waiting for my coffee to brew.
And that is the secret psychology behind it. It must be so small that you cannot possibly fail no matter how tired or busy you are.
So you trick your brain.
Exactly. Achieving that tiny goal gives your brain a little hit of dopamine. That's the chemical that makes you feel successful and happy. In English, we use a great idiom to describe this process. It gets the ball rolling.
Gets the ball rolling. I really like that image. Let me explain that to our listeners. Think of a heavy boulder sitting at the very top of a hill. Pushing it for the first few inches is incredibly difficult.
Right, it takes so much effort.
It really does. It requires a lot of effort to just start. But once that bowl starts moving, gravity takes over. It rolls down the hill all by itself, gaining speed and momentum.
That is exactly what a micro goal does for your English. Starting is always the hardest part. The micro goal gets the ball rolling.
Because the pressure is off.
Yes. Once you sit down and learn those 3 phrases, you feel a sense of accomplishment. Very often, because the pressure is gone, you might naturally decide to learn 2 more or watch a short video.
You're already doing it, so you just keep going.
Right. But even if you stop at 3, you have watered the plant. You have kept the habit alive.
Okay, but let me play the role of a frustrated learner for a moment.
Go for it.
What happens when even the micro goal feels like too much? Let's say I have a terrible week. My child is sick, my boss is demanding extra hours, and I'm running on 3 hours of sleep. Even learning 3 phrases feels impossible. Should just take a break from the plan?
This is a crucial moment. Most people simply quit when the plan gets difficult. They throw their notebooks in a drawer and give up.
Yeah, they feel like they failed.
But there's a much better solution. The art of the tweak.
The tweet?
Yes. To tweak something means to make a very small, simple change to improve a situation. You do not destroy your plan. You never quit. You just tweak it.
So instead of quitting, I adjust the rules of the game to fit my difficult week.
Exactly. If 3 phrases feels too heavy, you tweak the goal. You say, okay, for this specific week, my micro goal is to learn just 1 single phrase a day.
Or maybe just listening to something.
Sure. You could say, my goal is just to listen to 1 English song on my drive to work. You adjust the system to fit your current reality.
That is so forgiving.
It really is. By being intentional, using micro goals, and tweaking the plan when life gets chaotic, you build a learning habit that is truly unbreakable.
Okay. Once you have tweaked your daily plan and the ball is rolling, it's time to look at what you are actually putting into your brain. The input.
Yes, the absorption phase.
Right. If we have our daily plan locked in and we know we only need to spend 5 or 10 focus minutes a day, what exactly are we supposed to be doing? Because if I open my phone and search for English lessons, I'm instantly hit with a wall of options.
Oh, it's overwhelming.
There are millions of videos, thousands of podcasts, endless lists of vocabulary. I just freeze up.
You are describing something psychologists call the paradox of choice. We often think that having more options is a good thing.
It feels like it should be.
But when a human being is presented with too many choices, the brain actually experiences cognitive overload. You freeze up, you feel anxious.
You don't know where to start.
Exactly. You might spend 20 minutes just scrolling through videos, trying to decide which one is perfect, and by the time you choose, your study time is over. We call this the overwhelm factor.
I have absolutely done that. I spend more time looking for the perfect study material than I do actually studying. How do we bypass this overwhelm when studying alone?
We have to curate our environment. Curation means carefully selecting and organizing things. You must decide what materials you will use before it is time to study.
So prepare it the night before, maybe?
Exactly. But more importantly, you have to manage your physical space using a principle based on a very old English idiom. Out of sight, out of mind.
Out of sight, out of mind. Let's make sure that's clear. That means if you cannot physically see something with your own eyes, your brain completely forgets that it exists.
Precisely. Imagine you want to eat healthier, so you buy a bag of fresh spinach. But you push that spinach all the way to the back of the bottom drawer in your refrigerator.
Oh, I know exactly what happens to that spinach.
Right. Because you never see it when you open the door. Out of sight, out of mind. You forget about it, and it slowly goes bad.
And if my English notebook is hidden under my bed or zipped inside my backpack in the closet, out of sight, out of mind, I will never open it.
Exactly. To build a solo study habit, you must make English highly visible in your physical environment.
How do we do that practically?
Leave your English notebook open, with a pen resting on top of it right in the center of your desk. Take a sticky note, write your daily phrase on it, and stick it directly on your bathroom mirror so you have to look at it while you brush your teeth.
I love that.
By making the materials visible, you remove the mental effort of starting. You don't have to search for anything. It is already waiting for you.
That takes care of the physical books and notes, which helps avoid overwhelm. But what about listening? Because choosing what to listen to is a huge part of this.
It's a massive part.
Often I will try to immerse myself in English by putting on a fast-paced news broadcast or a really complex audio meant for native speakers. I figure the harder it is, the more I will learn.
That's a very common trap.
But usually, about 3 minutes in, I realize I am no longer listening. My mind has gone somewhere else, completely.
You have just described the phenomenon known as the drift-off.
The drift-off.
Yes. To drift off means your mind slowly wanders away, like a small wooden boat floating down a gentle river.
It just floats away.
Right. You are physically hearing the sounds of the English words, but suddenly you realize you've been thinking about what kind of pizza you want to eat for dinner for the last 10 minutes.
Why does our brain do that? Is it just laziness?
Not at all. It is a biological defense mechanism. When you choose audio that is far above your current level, where people are speaking too quickly or using incredibly advanced vocabulary, your brain tries to process it, fails, and gets exhausted.
So it just shuts down.
Basically, yes. To protect its energy, the brain simply stops trying, it goes for a walk, it drifts off.
So surrounding myself with highly advanced English all day long might actually be a waste of time if my brain is just ignoring it.
Exactly. This is why you must deliberately choose audio that is just a little bit above your current level.
Just a little bit.
Yes. It shouldn't be too easy, but it definitely shouldn't be impossibly hard. You want material that challenges you slightly, but that you can generally understand, much like this very deep dive we're having right now.
Right. If you understand most of what we are saying, this is your perfect level. But once we find that perfect, slightly challenging audio, how do we study it effectively? Just listening passively while doing the dishes doesn't feel like enough to really improve.
Passive listening is great for getting comfortable with the melody of English, but to see real progress, you need active learning. This is where we introduce the feedback loop method.
The feedback loop method. Okay, how does that work?
It's a technique you can do entirely alone, and it is incredibly powerful. Here's the process. You take your chosen audio and you listen to one single line, just one sentence. Then you hit the pause button.
Okay, pause. Then what?
Immediately, you repeat that exact sentence out loud, trying to copy the speaker's rhythm, tone, and pronunciation. Listen, pause, repeat out loud.
I've heard linguists call this shadowing. Why is this listen, pause, repeat cycle so much more effective than just listening?
Because you are training your ears and your mouth simultaneously. When you just listen, you are only using your ears. But when you pause and speak, you are training your brain and your physical muscles at the same time.
Muscles, like facial muscles.
Exactly. Language is not just a mental exercise, it is a motor skill. Your tongue, your lips, and your jaw have to learn new movements to produce English sounds. The feedback loop forces your brain to process the sound and immediately command your facial muscles to recreate it.
It's literally a full workout for your mouth.
It really is.
And I imagine that kind of intense workout is exactly what we need when we feel totally stuck. Let's talk about that feeling of being stuck, because there's a very specific word for it in language learning, the plateau.
The plateau. The plateau is universally frustrating. Imagine you are hiking up a mountain.
Okay, I'm hiking.
For the first few months of learning English, you are climbing quickly. You learn how to say hello, how to order food, how to ask for directions. You can see your progress every day.
It feels great at the beginning.
But eventually, you reach a flat area on the mountain. You keep walking, you keep studying, but you are not getting any higher. Your progress seems to stop completely. That frustrating flat place in your learning journey is a plateau.
It is the most dangerous phase because that's when people lose hope. They feel like their brain is full and they just can't improve anymore.
Plateaus happen because your brain gets too comfortable. If you only use passive input, just listening to background noise without really engaging, your brain stops adapting.
So we need to push it.
Yes. To break through a plateau, you have to shock your system with active input. The feedback loop method forces you out of your comfort zone. It demands your full attention and physical effort. That intensity is the key to breaking through that plateau and climbing the mountain again.
Okay, this paints a really clear picture. We have optimized our plan to be intentional and bite-sized. We've curated our environment so our notebook is always visible. And we're using the feedback loop to actively shadow native speakers.
Right.
So you've optimized your plan and you're actively absorbing input. But how do you practice speaking when you are completely alone? This brings us to the final pillar, generating output.
Output simply means speaking, producing the language from your own mind.
And here's where I have to point out the elephant in the room. If you are sitting alone in your bedroom, who are you supposed to talk to?
The answer is yourself. Self-talk.
Self-talk. I mean, honestly, it sounds a little bit strange. It feels awkward. And worse, if I am just talking to myself, how do I know I am not permanently wiring bad grammar into my brain?
That is a very valid fear, and it's the main reason people avoid speaking alone. But let's look at the strategy of solo speaking. First of all, the awkwardness goes away very quickly.
If you say so.
I promise, the strategy is incredibly simple. You narrate your daily actions out loud as they're happening.
Narrate them, like a sports announcer.
Exactly. Imagine you are walking into your kitchen in the morning, you speak to the empty room, you say, "Now I am walking to the counter. Now I am boiling water. Now I am choosing a mug."
It sounds so basic. Why is this simple act of narrating my morning coffee routine actually magical?
Because your mouth is physically moving and forming English words without the pressure of an audience. It lowers what linguists call the affective filter.
The affective filter, what is that?
It is essentially a wall of stress and anxiety in your brain. When you speak to a native speaker, your stress level is high, you are worried about looking foolish, making a mistake, or forgetting a word.
Yeah, your heart beats faster.
Right. And when that stress is high, your brain literally blocks your ability to use the vocabulary you know.
Oh, I've absolutely felt that. I know the word, but because I am nervous, my mind goes completely blank.
Exactly. But when you are alone in your kitchen making coffee, the affective filter drops to 0. There is no audience to judge you. You can stumble over your words, you can take 30 seconds to remember a verb, and there is no pressure.
You are just building the physical habit.
Yes. You are getting comfortable hearing your own voice speak English.
I understand the comfort aspect. But let's go back to the mistakes. If I say the sentence wrong, there is no teacher there to correct me. How do I fix that?
That is exactly where our pro tip comes into play. To prevent practicing mistakes, you have to become your own teacher. And the most effective daily habit for this is the 60-second recording.
The 60-second recording. Okay, how does this work?
It is remarkably simple. Every single day, you take out your smartphone, open the voice recording app, and you talk about your day for just 1 minute. 60 seconds.
Like whatever comes to mind.
Yep. You can describe a movie you watched, complain about the traffic, or talk about what you will cook for dinner. You just speak freely into the phone for 1 minute.
I have to stop you there, because I know exactly what everyone listening is thinking. Most people absolutely hate hearing the sound of their own recorded voice.
Oh, definitely.
I cringe when I hear my own voicemails.
You are definitely not alone in that. Almost every human being on Earth feels uncomfortable hearing their recorded voice. There is actually a scientific reason for it.
Really? What is it?
When we speak normally, we hear our voice through bone conduction. That means the sound vibrations travel through the bones in our skull, which makes our voice sound deeper and richer to ourselves.
Interesting.
But a recording plays our voice through the air without that bone vibration. It sounds thinner and completely unfamiliar. So the first step is just accepting that it will feel a little strange.
That is really reassuring to know. It's just biology, not that my voice is actually terrible. But once we record this 1-minute audio, what do we do with it?
Here is the crucial rule of the 60-second recording. Do not judge yourself. This is not a test to see how perfect your grammar is. You record for 1 minute, and then you listen back to the audio exactly 1 time. No more.
Just once.
Okay? And as you listen, you apply the concept of the tweak that we discussed earlier.
Right. So instead of tweaking my schedule, I am tweaking my English.
Precisely. Listen closely to find just one small thing to fix. Maybe you hear yourself say, "Yesterday I go to the store," and you realize, Ah, I should have said went. Or maybe you notice a single mispronounced word.
You just find one thing.
Yes. You don't get angry. You don't re-record it 20 times. You just find that one error and you mentally tweak it for tomorrow. This self-correction is the secret to improving rapidly without needing a teacher.
But wait, if I'm the one making the mistake, do I really know enough to catch it and correct it?
You would be surprised. Most English learners actually have a much higher level of passive comprehension than active speaking ability. You've read the rules, you've listened to English, you know what sounds correct.
So the knowledge is in there somewhere.
Exactly. Often, in the heat of speaking, your mouth simply makes a mistake. But when you listen back calmly to the recording, your brain instantly recognizes the error.
And no matter how busy you are, you can always squeeze in a 1-minute recording.
Yes, to squeeze in. Let's explain that one.
To squeeze in means to manage to find time for something, even when your schedule feels completely packed, like squeezing one last pair of socks into a very full suitcase.
That's a great way to picture it. Anyone can squeeze in a 1-minute recording and 1 minute of listening. It takes 2 minutes total.
And it builds so much confidence. It reminds me of a classic proverb, Rome was not built in a day.
Rome was not built in a day. That connects so perfectly to the overarching theme of this entire deep dive.
Think about the ancient city of Rome. It was magnificent and beautifully complex, but it didn't magically appear overnight. It was built carefully, brick by brick, day after day.
Yes.
Your English mastery requires time, patience, and small, steady, intentional steps. You cannot build it by drowning your brain in 3 hours of random study once a month.
You build it by laying one small, intentional brick every single day.
Exactly. Let's quickly recap this solo study framework so you can apply it today. First, drop the exhausting random study sessions. Create a sustainable plan by setting intentional micro-goals.
And use the power of the tweak when life gets tough.
Second, curate your physical space so your English is never out of sight, out of mind. Choose audio that is slightly challenging to prevent drifting off, and use the feedback loop method to actively shadow native speakers.
That breaks the plateau.
And finally, practice daily self-talk. Generate your own output by talking to yourself without pressure, and squeeze in a 60-second recording every day.
It is an incredibly powerful system, and because we truly believe you are capable of doing this, we want to issue a challenge to you today. We are calling it the 7-Day Solo Boost Challenge.
Here is the challenge. For the next week, we want you to record a 60-second audio of yourself speaking English every single day. Talk about the weather, talk about your job, talk about anything.
Don't worry about being perfect.
Listen back exactly one time, find one tiny tweak, and then you can delete the file. Just do it for 7 days in a row.
And we want to hear from you. Leave a comment wherever you are listening to this deep dive. Tell us, what is your exact micro goal for today?
Are you going to learn 3 phrases? Are you going to stick a note on your mirror?
Write it down and share it with us. We believe in you.
We really do. But before we go, we want to leave you with a fresh, encouraging perspective, something to really think about.
We spend so much of our language journey wishing for the perfect tutor. We imagine someone who is infinitely patient, who is available anytime, and who knows exactly how to correct our mistakes.
Right.
But consider this. What if the most attentive, patient, and available English teacher you could ever possibly have has actually been you all along?
Wow. That is a profound thought. Consider how the act of finding your own mistakes through those 60-second recordings might actually wire your brain to remember the correct pronunciation far better than if a tutor had simply pointed it out for you.
Exactly. The slight struggle of self-correction creates stronger pathways in your mind.
The ultimate teacher you have been waiting for is already inside you. You are entirely capable of guiding your own path to mastery.
It's a beautiful realization.
Absolutely. Well, that wraps up our mission for today. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Jenny.
See you next time on English Unlocked. Goodbye, everyone.